Hey, Shackers! Welcome back to This Week in Switch 2. This is our, was this, fourth episode? Yeah? I think?
Maybe. I think so.
Yeah, I think this is 4. That's twice as many as Switch 2. Anyway, I'm back here with David, our long reads editor at Shacknews, and our news editor, Donovan Erskine's here. So, Donovan, let's cut to the chase, buddy. You got to play Donkey Kong Bonanza at a preview event. This podcast is going to go live at the embargo for that preview. Tell the world, is Donkey Kong Bonanza a great video game? Are you looking forward to it? What should people look forward to?
Yeah, Donkey Kong Bonanza definitely feels like it has the makings of a great video game, and I was already looking forward to it, and probably a little bit more so after getting to play it. We got about, like, I think they said it was 2-ish hours we had to demo the game. They, sat me down to the demo station. It was entirely in TV mode. I played through a bunch of different sections of the game, actually. So I started off in the very opening. I saw, like, the opening cutscene, got the inciting incident that sends DK on his adventure.
The bananas. You saw the bananas being taken. Yes.
Yeah. And
very important plot point in every Donkey Kong game.
the storm that kind of kicks it all off, yeah. And I think what immediately stuck out to me was kind of just like the destructible environments, right? Because even from like the opening, when you're on Ingot Isle, like you're still doing like it's like the B button to punch down, X you punch up, A you can slam like horizontally in the walls, and just everything kind of just gives way, and you can dig through tunnels, and there's gold, which is like the currency in this game, and then you can find collectibles. There are chests that are hidden in the walls and whatnot. You can find banandium crystals, which are like these banana-shaped, they're banandium gems, but they're these banana-shaped crystals that you use, and when you get a bunch of those, you get skill points, because this game has like RPG mechanics in it. So all of that I was immediately kind of messing around with. Specifically, I got to play in, I believe it was the canyon layer, the forest layer, and then there was one more that was like almost like tropical or beach-like. Maybe it was called the beach layer. I don't know. But I had a good time with it. I think that it's we learned this is made by the same people who made Super Mario Odyssey, which I thought was very apparent.
Whoa!
Yeah,
so we can just say that now? Nintendo ninjas aren't going to come and get us? Like, we can just let the world know that the Super Mario Odyssey devs made Donkey Kong Bonanza? Like, no one's going to jump out from behind me and murder me for saying that?
Yeah, it feels weird to say, but yeah, because they give you a peek behind the curtain. They give you like a little presentation before the actual demo started, and they very casually said that. When they mentioned it, I did my I looked around to see if anybody else was reacting to that information, and I was like, okay. I don't know if people knew this or not. I know there've been a lot of rumors. People thought they were. I think there was one report that it was like a spin-off team, but the way Nintendo Treehouse put it, they said the Mario Odyssey team. So that's what we have to go with, and I thought that kind of came through in the gameplay, specifically within the like collectathon of it all, because the Banandium crystals are like everywhere. You get them as a reward for they're called the challenge layer ruins, where there are a lot of these like they're like little buttons, but they're like on the ground, like a little mound you walk up to and you slam down and you drop into a challenge level. And a challenge level might be like, hey, beat all 5 of these enemies in 25 seconds, or do this like 2D platforming level without like losing all your hearts, or destroy. I did one that was like destroy this entire tower in 30 seconds, and I had to just pretty much like go crazy and spam buttons. And you'll get them as rewards for that. They're usually hidden like in the terrain. You have like a sonar ability where you'll clap your hands and you'll see like a wave, and it'll like blink inside the terrain. You can upgrade an ability that makes that sonar range like further. But every time you get them, there's like a little cinematic, like Mario Odyssey, when you get a moon and he does the pose and it's like got a name. It'll be like, oh, you got the moon that was in the dinosaur nest or whatever. It's like that, where it'll be like, hey, you got the Banandium gem from destroying the tower, or you got the one from the forest layer.
He's usually like hugging it tightly and making a silly face, right?
Yeah, he like does like a point at the screen, and then Pauline's like flying off of his back. It's cute. There's like a little like music hit that plays every time you get one. But yeah, and I like that they even tie them into progression, where it's not just a collectathon, but it's your skill points are directly tied to it. So you don't have to be just a completionist. If you just want to get more upgrades, it behooves you to go seek them out. Which I thought was cool. Looking at the skill tree, I was like, there's gonna be some like diverse builds that people play through this game with, because some of them are very simple. Just like there's one where every time you upgrade it, the punching strength goes up. So when you like hit a wall, depending on the material, because it's not just like dirt. There's sand, there's concrete, there's obsidian, there's gold, and all of them have like different, I guess, hardness is the term you would use. Where some you just punch right through them, some you gotta really like spam, and some you just can't hit. You just won't go through them. But as you upgrade that ability, they become easier to kind of force your way through. There's abilities that give you more hearts. You start off with three, so you could always, expand your vitality, which is what I did early on. You power up the Bonanza forms. We saw in the trailer they had like Kong Bonanza. We saw Ostrich Bonanza, Zebra Bonanza. Those you can upgrade. During my demo specifically, when I was on the forest layer level, I was playing as the Ostrich Bonanza, which with that one you can fly temporarily. But at its base form, you actually don't fly very long at all. He flaps his wing maybe 2 or 3 times, and then you just start gliding down to the ground. But you can upgrade it so that when he flaps, he can do that a little bit longer. They show in the direct you can like drop egg bombs like a bomber plane. That's not unlocked initially. That's like an ability that you have to use a skill point to unlock. Some of the better abilities take 2, 3 skill points. So there's like a full like system there. I think that when we all have this game, we'll look at each other and have very different builds by the time we roll credits on it. But it seemed like a pretty in-depth system they had going there.
Did you get to try out the Kong Bonanza, or was it only Ostrich that you played?
I did Kong and Ostrich when I played. Kong Bonanza was good. I think that's the first one you get once Pauline first like jumped. We see that she's Otterrock. There's like I saw that cutscene. That's the first one she gives you, and they mentioned it in the direct. But you can activate those freely whenever. They're not like tied to like narrative moments or boss battles. Like wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you can just activate whatever Bonanza you want to use. And that one specifically is just all around stronger, so you can like punch through tougher materials.
It's like Super Saiyan.
Yeah, no, it's exactly that. It's Super Saiyan Donkey Kong mode. Yeah, that one you can punch through like concrete, which is I think if it's not the hardest, it's one of the hardest materials. But that one you just smash right through it with Kong Bonanza. That was a good one. Also good for fights. You can just activate that in combat and just go beast mode on enemies, which I liked.
Dude, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So
there's
the first level on Ingot Isle, like, did you just find yourself destroying everything in that demo area? Because like, they actually told me like, hey, you should probably progress because you're gonna run out of time. This was at the April 2nd demo, right?
Yeah.
But I destroyed everything I could in that one like room area that you are where there's like kind of a tutorial going on. I destroyed everything in that room. I feel like it's a weird level of completionism that's going to be in this game.
Yeah. So that room I did a little bit, but then it was when they first let me out into the first proper like layer, which might have been the canyon layer, I believe. It was there when I first like I was on top of a hill and I just started like smashing down into the mountain and finding stuff. And they didn't stop me, but I stopped myself and I was like, wait, I need to like go to the objective or I'm gonna like spend the whole demo here, and they all laughed. But yeah, no, you can. As I was playing, I was like, okay, when I'm like actually playing this at home with my own copy of the game, I'm gonna go through like all of this stuff because you're rewarded for it. There's so much like gold you find in there, the chests. You can get like music discs because there's a jukebox. There's a jukebox mode in this game where you could pick the songs to play.
Note to the Mario Kart World devs.
Yeah,
just note you can put your music in a jukebox.
Yeah, you can. There's so many. You're not just like doing it mindlessly. I mean, you kind of are, but
yeah.
Every time you feel like it's mindless, you're rewarded. You find stuff down there. So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna like dig through all of this. And what I thought was cool, they showed me there's a button in the pause menu where you can reset the terrain. So like if you've been playing for hours on a level and you've managed to like pick it clean of destructible environments, just so you don't soft lock yourself, they told me you can like reset the terrain. So I guess theoretically you could like destroy all the terrain and then you can't reach like an objective or a story progression point or something.
There are like static platforms in the game that you can't destroy.
There are.
But I guess what you're saying is like there may be like 2 of those platforms, but you destroyed the land that you were on to jump onto that. Okay. That's interesting. And that just means that you can actually break the game with destroying the world. Like they let you soft lock yourself. In the name of just destroying stuff for fun, and that's that sandbox that you're talking about. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was just curious what you thought visually of the game, because this is probably the best looking Nintendo game that's ever, or that is going to ship here this year. What did you think of the
It
visuals?
looks it looks really nice. It's very vibrant. I think that the fact that each layer is like a biome, there's like the forest, the beach, the canyon. They all are very like colorful. But even like DK's model, specifically in the cutscenes, like the way like his fur is like
Mm-hmm.
blowing in the wind and stuff, it looks very nice. And I mean, if you've played older Donkey Kong games, some of those older models have not aged well. But he looks really good in this game. I thought that it looked quite pretty. Um, I was playing. Well, it's a Switch 2 game. I was playing on Switch 2, but I did have a couple of moments I noticed where I would like because the map in this game is like fully 3D. You pull it up and you can spin it around, and you go to treasure map and it'll show you like, oh, there's like a fossil inside this mountain at this spot. You can pinpoint and go dig and find. I found when I would like load up the map and start flipping it really fast, I'd notice some like performance drops, and then specifically like when I would like load into a new layer. So something to keep in mind. But like visually, I thought it looked quite gorgeous. There was a scene where I was riding on a rail cart. I think I sent Craig this footage where I'm like on a mine cart, just riding over a rail, looking over an entire zone, and it was just a very like sweeping, beautiful cinematic shot, especially for a DK platformer. I
Did you
thought it was
notice any pop in
gorgeous.
of textures or anything?
No, I don't. Not that I. No, not that I noticed.
Okay.
Could very well be there, but nothing that like jumped out to me.
It's something I've started
When I was
watching
playing.
for in Switch games, and what I've noticed is that the Switch, like Nintendo first party titles, don't seem to have much of that going on. But I have seen
Yeah,
some like shadow pop ins and like other things in third party games I've been messing around with. So I'm just kind of
hmm
curious on that
it's
front.
it's also interesting because if I remember correctly, when they did the April 2nd Direct and they were talking about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, that game has like performance versus quality mode. It's
Correct.
not out yet, obviously, but like in it, you'll be able to like toggle that. I wonder if they'll do that with any of the other games. I'm assuming DK doesn't have it because nobody mentioned it to me while I played. Maybe it secretly does, but I wonder if like other first party Nintendo games will use that because
Hmm.
Mario Kart didn't do it. I don't think Donkey Kong will do it unless there's a surprise in there for us.
The
So I wonder, where else we'll
the
see that pop up.
I did play performance mode in Metroid Prime Fusion at that event. Or sorry,
hmm
not Fusion. Sorry.
For
For Beyond. Sorry.
there you go.
Fusion
Yeah,
was the DS game?
might have been Game Boy.
Game Boy? I don't know.
One of
I'm
the other
old.
ones.
Anyway, I played 100. It was 120 FPS Metroid. With the
hmm
mouse, I was playing the Al Bundy mode, right? I had Joy-Con, two Joy-Con, but one was a mouse, one was a regular controller.
Right.
Um, and yeah, I told them, I'm like, do this to more games. Like,
Yeah.
I want 1080p 120 hertz more than I want 4K 30.
100%.
4K 60 is great.
Yeah.
And even with this DLSS stuff that they're doing, like I'm fine with 4K 60 docked, and then like whatever they can get in handheld. But like 720p 120 hertz in handheld is still really cool too. So I
hmm
think people are gonna like that in Metroid. Maybe Metroid's like the showpiece for that tech, and
Yeah.
based on how they respond, like gamers respond to that, maybe that'll inform future decisions. But like
Case by case basis, I guess. Yeah.
racing game makes a lot of sense. F-Zero, but
hmm
Kart doesn't have it, to your point. But Kart
Yeah.
was being worked on for like 8 years, so they may not have had
It was.
the hardware spec to even build towards yet. So that's
hmm
why I think
Yeah.
this is like the real like first party Nintendo title for this system, in my opinion. Like
hmm
Mario Kart World it's kind of like Breath of the Wild, where Breath of the Wild released cross
Yeah.
gen. This didn't, but it was built for the previous gen and then decided, hey, this would be better over here. Oh, just real quick, both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, the Switch 2 editions, are now the highest rated games on Metacritic this year. They have surpassed
Yeah.
Expedition 33. Um, yeah, Don is rocking his Tears of the Kingdom shirt right
There you
there.
go.
Uh, but yeah, I thought that was kind of funny that those games are being very well received by people who probably didn't play them on the original Switch.
Yeah.
So yeah, both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I think it was like a 94 and a 95 respectively.
hmm
That's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you port two games that are already considered among the best ever made, and then you just make them run better and look prettier. You know,
Yeah,
what's there not to like?
exactly.
Um,
But this is like Donkey Kong Bonanza. Getting back to this, it's like to me that's like the first flagship first party title that's gonna showcase what this thing can do, kind of game.
mhm.
Uh, did,
Yeah,
did you get to play co-op?
I did, which I was gonna bring up because you mentioned the mouse stuff with Metroid Prime
Metroid.
4. Yeah, Donkey Kong also uses it. They use it in single player gameplay because you can like aim rocks when you throw them, but specifically
Hmm.
in co-op, which I did play during my demo, where is the second player is Pauline essentially, and Pauline is OP. She's so strong because they show it in the direct, but she does like she shouts the onomatopoeia, so she'll be like "ha," and the word "ha" will fly out like a rock, and it'll like hit enemies and stuff. But you can take the mouse and aim at the environment, and if like there's a wall made of stone, you can absorb the stone, and now they'll show like I guess you would call it ammo because I don't know if there's a better term, but you can see she can get like her next 8 words will be made of stone, and it's like a stronger material, so now it'll make a bigger blast, it'll do more damage. But then it gets interesting because gold in Mario Kart in Donkey Kong Bonanza is explosive, so if you throw gold at something, it blows up. So if you see like a piece of gold in the ground, uh, Pauline can absorb it. Now she's got like this explosive projectile that she can shoot six, however many times. And it's kind of like a game in and of itself because obviously Donkey Kong is like the vehicle that's being piloted here. So you need the other player to like hold still or aim you in the right direction to grab the gold because it doesn't happen instantly. It's like a little meter that goes like bloop 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 and then it fills
Okay.
up. Yeah.
It's kind of
So
like the healer relationship in like a TF game or something. Like
yeah.
you have to work with your shooter there. Except like you're
Mhm.
literally riding around on DK's shoulder.
Yeah, and what
That's
I thought was
interesting.
what I thought was interesting. Whenever I've used the mouse feature at home, I always like put it on like the desk in front of me or whatnot. And I was doing that during the demo, and then like the Nintendo Treehouse employee walks by, and she says to me, she's like, "Oh, you can use it on your leg." And I was like the mouse thing, and she was like, "Yeah, put it on your leg." And I was like, "Oh." And I like put the mouse on my leg, and I started like I kind of sat back and did it, and it worked. But I was like, "Huh." I was like,
That's why
I
I
never
call
like,
it. That's why I call it Al
yeah,
Bundy mode. Like you can literally sit there like Al Bundy when he gets home from work, and you're just like, bleh. Yeah,
yeah.
it's like spread it out.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, you know, it's funny because one of the original specs of the mouse that Apple made, which admittedly was stolen from Xerox PARC, like most things, but when they built the mouse, Steve Jobs was like, I want to be able to use it on my jeans. And it's funny that that's still a spec for the mouse, like all these
Huh.
years later.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, I wouldn't have never thought that that was like an intentional use case for it, but I thought that was interesting. I think that the fact that Pauline is so strong, I think will be cool for children because I imagine a lot of parents or older siblings will play co-op with smaller kids because she is just like a beast. All you have to do is look straight and like spam those attacks, and she can like either do most of the damage or just kill an enemy before Donkey Kong even gets there while he's
mhm.
sprinting over to them. So yeah, she's great. And I thought it was interesting. I didn't get to see a lot of the story. I saw a few cutscenes, but something they told us before we played was like, this is not a Donkey Kong game featuring Pauline. Like this is a Donkey Kong and Pauline story. Like this is equally about them. They're co-protagonists was the term they used when describing it, which I thought was interesting. So I'm looking forward
I
to seeing more of that.
when I saw that direct, I'm like, this is a Pauline origin story, as much
Yeah,
as it
they said
is
that.
like a DK game. It's definitely a DK game, but yeah, this is Pauline's origin story, and it's cool. Go ahead and do that. Like, and
Yeah.
if you have to retcon 30 years or 40 years of DK lore, so be it. Uh,
Yeah.
so how much music did you hear? Curious about that.
I heard a lot. I don't know. I can't like name tracks to you. I'm sure there were homages, but I can't be like, oh, they had the Donkey Kong Country
Uh,
soundtrack in there. I'm imagining there are a lot because before we even played, they were giving us like a visual tour of the history of the Donkey Kong games, and all the tracks are like named when you find them. They spit out like little like records you can pick up.
are they
There was
records
one.
or are they CDs?
There were records like vinyls.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting. That's even
Mm.
more retro.
There was one level where there was like a big one that was like a projectile, like I could surf on it. Like I grabbed it, 'cause I had to take it and place it on
Oh,
a turntable for a character, and I
Okay.
like jumped on it because you can rock surf if you're holding a rock. I forget the button combination, but you'll throw it under yourself and you'll surf on it, and you move fast, and the rock will just dwindle down and then eventually disappear.
Yeah.
I did that. I did that with the record, and it just like spun under me, and I like drove it across the
Wow.
terrain to get to the objective. Yeah.
So it seems like
Um,
you're gonna be able to interact with a lot of the things in this world. Like it's not
mhm.
just set pieces. Like you can do stuff with the world.
The platforming flexibility seems pretty deep because yeah, you can rock surf. If you're holding like a rock, when you jump, if you jump twice while holding a rock, you'll just double jump. You'll like throw it down, and he'll use like the momentum to like kick off of it and do a second jump. So you could cook up some like weird sequences. Again, to the Mario Odyssey point, I think of like once you had unlocked everything in that game, you could do like a the Cappy throw, jump, bounce off Cappy, do another leap forward. Like you could create like a really cool sequence to get yourself in the places you shouldn't be. And it felt like Donkey Kong has a similar thing going on there.
The riding on the things, the platform based like riding
Mhm.
on, I can't remember what they call it, but it
It was surf,
reminds
like rock surf.
yeah,
Yeah.
rock surf. That reminds me of the Cappy double jump. Like I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, that's gonna be the thing that kind of serves that purpose. I can't wait to see if
Yeah.
speedrunners get their hands on this because it's gonna be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
like
I
you
think I
said,
might have said that during my demo. I was like, people who speedrun games are gonna have like just a buffet of systems to mess with here. Uh, which I guess to that point, because this will matter for those kind of people who need to min max, the customization in this game, which again we saw during the direct, isn't just cosmetic, where like the outfits you put on change your stats, right? We saw their like pants that give you plus 25% swim speed. I bought a tie that I think improved my damage output maybe, but like there's all sorts of stuff like that, right, where you can put like clothes on DK and the stuff you put on him actually affects how he plays. Again, like RPG elements
mm-hmm.
in this game that they seem to put like an emphasis on, which I thought was pretty interesting. Which all that stuff you buy with gold, which you get by playing. I think I had like around 3,000 gold by the time I was in my demo, and I was pretty generous, like with smashing everything I found. There's a button you can press to like quickly gather up all the gold within a radius so that
Yeah.
you don't spend too much time like running in circles. Um, I died once during my demo, and I think I lost like 1,000 gold when I died. It was either 500 or 1,000, but it was a good chunk. I remember seeing it and being like, "Oh God, okay, that was more than I thought I was going to lose."
But you can go back
So
and get it like in a Souls game.
yeah, there was like a marker, I think, or
Yeah,
something like that that I could go
it'll
back and
show up on
find.
your map, and if you
Hmm.
go get it, you
Yeah.
get all your gold back,
Hmm.
which I think's nice. Because
Yeah.
even like a Mario game was more penalizing for that stuff.
Hmm.
You mentioned the
Yeah.
hearts thing. Did you die at all during your demo?
Just once, just only died once. Yeah, that was when I
So
saw the
what
stuff that I
happens?
lost. Uh, you just went game over, and I think it just reloaded the last save because this
Okay,
game has like
autosave.
traditional save, auto saves, but you can like manually save and load.
Okay,
Yeah, similar to like a Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, where you just save button. It's like a menu of like save slots. I think it just loads you back to the most recent one. And yeah, when I died, screen went black, and it showed my gold total, and it was like minus. And again, I can't remember if it was 500 or 1,000, but it was like minus the number I lost, and it just spawned me back.
did you transition
Yeah.
from one level to the other during your demo? Like, did you get to see the chasm or anything?
I did, yeah. It's like a you punch down, and then it's like a long tunnel. You dive down. I would always do the because you could just fall, and it's like almost like battle royale style where you're doing the
Yeah,
like the body outward thing, but you can like hold B and you would like dive punch, and you just like
the Wreck-It
barrel
Ralph
down.
pose. Yeah,
Yeah, I would always do that just because it looked cool.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it's like a long drop into the next biome. It's like a seamless transition, I guess you'd say. Yeah,
Did it remind you of Tears?
it gave me little shades of like the underground thing where
Yeah,
you're
the
like it's
depths.
like the subterranean. It's like that, but you keep going
You
deeper.
keep
You don't go
going.
back up. Yeah,
You never go
yeah,
back up.
yeah. You just keep
Or
going
maybe
further
you do
down.
at the end of the game, hopefully.
You can. There's like a fast travel thing.
That's
They showed
right.
that again in the direct the elevators.
That's right. So that takes you
Yeah.
between levels.
Yes, there's yes. I know. Well, I know there are ones you can take
Between
that are
inside of the same level, and then I think they're yeah, okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
And then there's like a bigger one I think that takes you to the other levels, like the mom, because they're creatures. They like talk to you and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything like did you interact with any other NPCs? I know that Cranky's in this game. Any like the store merchants or anything?
I talked to like random NPCs. I don't think I talked to like Cranky or Dixie or Diddy Kong,
Mm-hmm.
but I did talk to the store merchants, but then also like I forget what they're called, but they're like these rock people. Like they have like weird shapes to them. Like there's one that's shaped like a triangle. There was one that was shaped like a house, and if you talk to him, you can like pay him gold, and he'll dig you like a little temporary home set up in like the wall. Like he'll cut out like a square in the wall, and then inside of it, it'll be like a bed, a jukebox, so you can change the music, and then like a closet, so you can change your outfits if you want. He'll like charge you gold, and you'll jump in the bed when you lay down. You get like all your hearts back. I don't think there are any other notable NPCs I talked to. I think that was it really.
But the
Nobody.
guy shaped like a house that builds you a house. That's very
Yeah.
rare, right? That's like that sounds like a rare game, right, David?
Yeah, it really does. It also makes me think of Death Stranding, like Mr. House, who's a house who builds you a house.
It would be Houseman.
Houseman.
Or Houseman. Yeah. Houseman.
Yeah.
Houseman. Mr.
It would be
Houseman.
like Dan Houseman. Junior. Esquire. I don't know. It's fucking Death Stranding too. Yeah, we got another Death Stranding. There's a rumor that Death Stranding's coming to Switch too.
I can see it. Why not?
It's
why not?
on that. If it's on iPhone, why not?
That's true. That's true. Did anybody go look and see how that ran on iPhones? That's like a thing that happened. Did anyone go like do due diligence on that?
It's actually pretty good. I've seen it. I want to say one of our freelancers was invited to an event last year where they played, I think it was Nick Tan. I think he played Death Stranding 2 on an iPad. Right. Yeah, it ran very well.
It seems like we're poised to get that first post-launch wave of third-party port announcements, right? Because I know Bandai just announced they're doing a showcase this week at the time we're recording this. I've already seen people say
Elden Ring
Tarnished Edition.
Yeah.
That's a thing we know that's coming. Yeah. Feels like we're going to get some updates soon on some stuff, so.
That would not surprise me. Although I don't think Nintendo's going to do anything until after DK launches. So if we do get like a direct for third parties or a partner showcase or something, it'd probably be in the back half of July, not the front half. Would be my guess.
I mean, after DK, it's got to be all focus shifts to Metroid Prime. No disrespect to Dragon Drive.
Well, I was gonna say Drag X Drive is coming in August. I think we got a release date for that. August.
Look, that'll be fun. And I'm not trying to be mean, but I think the fact that they priced that game at it's $20, I think, or $30, and they announced it on the Nintendo Today app, that kind of shows what they expect from that game.
Look,
it's not the ARMS of the Switch 2,
It's definitely not ARMS, but it's also not 1-2 Switch. Like, it's a competent game that demonstrates one aspect of the system. It's like if they made something for Welcome Tour, but they're like, no, this has to be its own game, damn it. They took the guess the frame rate minigame, David, and they just made 100 of them. And it was like WarioWare, but it was just guess the FPS. That's like Dragon Drive. But like, I think it's cool from a representation standpoint to have a wheelchair basketball game. But
that's really cool.
But I didn't enjoy playing it in my preview time with it. It was actually my least favorite thing I played on April 2nd at that preview event. Just because I don't know. Yeah. I'm not used to moving 2 mice simultaneously at the same speed. So I think that kind of weirded me out more than anything. But yeah, it's another game that's going to demonstrate part of the system that they want to emphasize, which is the mouse and also move controls, I guess. But outside of that, like, I think this the Mario Party Jamboree thing, like, that's coming in TV. Yeah, that's coming in July, and that I'm not saying that deserves its own direct, but I could see that get like a nice 5 to 10 minute overview trailer. You know. But like, that's now we're entering this phase though. It's like, okay, Nintendo, when are you going to announce these other third-party release dates and other games that are coming out? And what the hell's going on with COD?
Yeah.
Is that coming? Is that coming to Switch 2? Like, what's going on?
One day, hey, Black Ops 7, maybe. We'll see. Later this year.
It can't even fit on a Switch. And we've talked about this.
It hardly fits on a PS5, yeah.
That's true.
We'll see. Also, I keep forgetting there's a Pokemon Presents on July 22nd.
There you go.
Announced over a month and a half, which was very bizarre. We knew it was bizarre when they did it. I don't know what that means for the possibility of a Direct. We've had Directs and Pokemon Presents very close together before.
Sure.
So, doesn't rule it out.
Hell, we had a Nintendo Direct the week before the Switch 2 Direct. So, like...
Also true.
You know what I mean? Like, it's been a weird year for Nintendo.
There are no rules.
And, like, yeah, now that Nintendo Today exists, things are really weird. I doubt they're gonna just forget to mention... Like, I don't know. Like, have they forgotten to announce the release date for Metroid? Like, I mean, it's been...
it was out for a few days in the UK.
I know. Only in the subway. Only in the underground. But if you were taking public transportation, you had a chance to download Metroid Prime 4 Beyond on the tube.
Oh, man.
Someone definitely got fired over that.
Unfortunately, yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But I just want a release date. That's it.
Yeah, again, that has to be the primary focus after DK comes out. I would imagine that's the next game to get a focus Direct.
Yeah.
Or something, yeah.
Will it get a Direct? I don't know. I doubt it, honestly. It feels like the kind of game where they want it to be part of a larger Direct.
Yeah, that could also be true. It could be 5 minutes of a 15-minute Direct, or 5 minutes of a 20-minute Direct, Yeah.
So I've been thinking, though, like, we're really not going to get a new Mario game, guys. Because, Donovan, the news you broke here on this podcast, an article also broke the news on Shacknews today. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the Mario team. This is the Mario Odyssey team. And this game is very large in scope, right? Like, from your opinion on playing multiple sub-levels, this is a very large game, right?
Yeah, I would be surprised if this took less time to beat than Odyssey. Maybe more, just because I feel like there's more to distract yourself with.
God knows what the equivalent of the Dark Side of the Moon will be in this game. But I'm sure something like that. I didn't
think of like
I'm sure there'll be that new Game Plus shit that they gave us in Odyssey that was really good, but it added a lot of challenges and life to that game. I could see something similar in this. But here's my conclusion. We're not getting a Mario 3D platformer for a long time. Like, I'd say over 3 years.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a splinter team that's been working on it for a while. That's usually how development works.
That's what I was gonna suggest, just because I'm like, I feel like Nintendo has that. They have the foresight to know, like, I don't know if they want to wait that long for 3. I'd be surprised if, like, right now they were like, oh, we haven't even begun, like, we're just now starting. I'd be surprised if there's like,
it's like Mario Kart,
not something like cooking back there. What can they do
after 8? Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it's like Mario Kart. They had World in development for quite a long time.
It's definitely not soon. I don't think it's this year or probably really even next year. But
which brings me back to September when Mario turns 40. What the hell are they going to do? Is it just going to be here's Odyssey Switch 2 edition? I don't know if you saw the Digital Foundry broke down Odyssey on Switch 2, and they're like, this is awesome. Like, the free upgrades that you're getting in some of these games are outstanding. They also said that Link's Awakening and Echoes of Wisdom ostensibly are, like, free remasters, these updates. So that's pretty dope. I'll throw it out there. Like, right now, we are in that early adopter era of the Switch 2, right? And you need the people who know that love your franchises more than ever to support you in this first year. I think Mario Kart World is a fine Mario-related IP. But what this system really could use is Super Mario Maker 3. Because it'll show off the mouse gameplay, and like, David, there's that 8-month period around a Mario Maker where it's all over social media, right? It's like, check this thing out, check this cool level out, look what this person did, look at Dan Reichert was challenging someone to do something. You could create hype for Nintendo with a game like Super Mario Maker. And it is a niche. It's not the 30 million unit game, right? That an Odyssey would be, right, or a Donkey Kong could be, down the road. I think that's what we might see. There's a chance that we get like a direct either in August or September where they announce the freaking Metroid release date. And their one more thing is like, hey, we do have a Mario game coming out this year. It's Maker. That would be cool.
Do you think they pull a, 2018 E3 where they're just like, the follow-up to Super Mario Odyssey is now in development? Like, where they
God, I hope not.
The game was like, at that point now in hindsight, like 5 years away, but they knew people wanted to know. They knew we were dying for information, so they're just like, hey, the next game is being made. You'll find out one day.
God, I remember that same thing with Pokemon on the Switch. Remember that first year and a half or whatever?
Yeah.
People were like, when are they gonna announce the stupid and then the Pokemon president just came on and is like, yes, we are working on a Pokemon game for the Nintendo Switch console. Yeah. Now get out of my office.
Yeah, I think that one in particular was such a head scratcher because we're coming off of, at least from the handheld side of things, the 3DS, where it was like, you look at the best-selling DS games and it's like Pokemon, other IP, Pokemon. And then to confound, and on top of that, we had, I believe it was Pokemon Stars was like the rumored secret Sun and Moon third game that was supposed to be like a Switch launch title that got canceled behind the scenes. So yeah, people were starving for Pokemon news on Switch when that console came out.
It was hilarious because it was a good year of people just begging for Pokemon news, and then I think we got "Hey You Pikachu" or whatever, or "Let's Go." Sorry, Let's Go Pikachu. Sorry, not Hey You. Hey You Pikachu was on the N64, and it was kind of terrible.
Some people want that back too.
Look, with the microphone on the Switch too.
Yeah.
Why not? Get weird, Nintendo. Give us a Hey You Pikachu too. They gave us another Snap. Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna give us another Snap,
which apparently runs well on Switch too. I was not somebody who was interested in kicking the tires on that, but somebody did, and apparently it runs well.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to let the folks know about Donkey Kong? Just overall, you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I thought it was really fun. I think one of my biggest concerns going in was would there be just enough content or meat to it? I was like, am I just gonna burn through this game in a weekend and then move on to anticipating Metroid? But I was like, no, this game's gonna be a solid chunk of time for me to feel satisfied and through with playing it.
I don't know if it was last week or the week before. You mentioned that the system is lacking that really deep Breath of the Wild lose yourself game.
A single player game, that I can just play for hours and hours.
Is this that game?
I think it could be. Yeah, I think it could be. Yeah.
That's exciting because we need that. And Odyssey bookended the most amazing launch year of all time, right? We had Breath of the Wild for 9 months, and then we got Odyssey. So we were eating very well in 2017. I think Donkey Kong is definitely that game for launch, that window. But now,
I mean,
I don't think we're getting a Mario 3D platformer for a while. I really don't.
I think it will be a while. Hopefully, there's other IPs showing up, to keep people.
If it comes out this fall, it will be 6 years since the last Mario Maker game was released. That seems like the kind of thing that you could do, right? And it's not going to be as labor intensive as making a 3D Mario platform that has to be 4K, 60 FPS, and all that stuff.
Yeah, they also, I think if my memory serves right, they went through and redid all of the not redid, but they did sequels to a lot of the Mario sports games on Switch. I think the one holdout was Sluggers, right? That was the only one that didn't get they did a new tennis, they did new golf, new strikers.
Basketball. They need basketball.
3-on-3 basketball. Okay. Yeah, we need to bring that back.
Yeah, maybe we get maybe there's a Mario Sluggers for Switch 2 around the corner or something that they'll pull out of the.
A Mario sports title would not be a bad idea this year, because those don't sell crazy numbers either. Because I think the problem that people don't realize right now is that there aren't a whole lot of Switch 2s in the world, in customers' hands yet. So it doesn't make sense to release these 30 million unit selling games when there's only 5 million units in the world. You know what I mean? So I feel like those bigger tentpole IP are probably going to be saved for year 2, 3, and 4. Sure. Where, like, this is the year where you drop Brain Age Remaster or whatever you want to call it. Like, you go after... You go after those $10 to $20 titles, David, like for the DS era, and like the mouse functionality opens the door to that shit. So it's like I'm still waiting to hear from them, like, because the Dominus collection for Castlevania got a 10 out of 10. Like, these are great games from the DS era, and if they're ported well, they could be huge for Nintendo. So like, I do want more information, and I'm starting to talk myself into an August Direct. Not a July Direct. July overview trailer for Mario Party Jamboree TV, and then a Direct in August. Once Activision figures out if they're actually able to port COD to Switch 2. Because, like, I'm still, like, fingers crossed. Like, I want to see Microsoft forced to divest Activision Blizzard because they can't get COD running on a Switch 2. That would be the funniest outcome possible. So that's what I'm rooting for.
I think they'll put a Mortal Kombat 11 level disaster on Switch before they let that happen. It'll be like.
But that's gonna be that'll be an argument used against them then.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like that's not gonna fly. Like you think that's gonna fly in a Japanese court if someone like Mortal Kombat 11 quality of like the Switch port of COD is that bad? Like. I guess I would buy I would buy it just because I could create so much content out of it. But like, the silence from Microsoft with respects to Switch 2 has been very deafening. And then they're like, well, we're working on a ROG Ally handheld, and it's the future of gaming, and everything's an Xbox, and we're gonna fire 6,500 people. I don't know, like something's up there. Something's going on between Microsoft and Nintendo right now. And I think COD is at the heart of it. So I'm going to keep putting a spotlight on that until we hear something. Because it's been years since they made their 10-year agreement. Years.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how that all shakes out. I think it's also, before I forget, it looks like Nintendo's starting to get the ball rolling on these Nintendo GameCube, Switch Online Nintendo Classics.
Strikers!
They announced that Strikers is coming July 3rd to the...
It's the good one!
The library. Yeah, so you and Osley. So the good one's coming out, yeah.
It's the good soccer game! They finally are giving us the good one! Now, it's Nintendo Switch Online, so we'll see how the online play is. But if it's decent, like, we should be playing this on Thursday. Because it's July 3rd. The drip drop of GameCube titles has begun, David. Get excited. We got the one GameCube game that we got this month. Like, I don't know what the cadence of this will be, but this was a good choice.
You know what? That was about the release. The drip drop of GameCube games brings back memories of the drip drop of GameCube games.
In real life. You're right. Launch wasn't terrible. But then it like dried up quickly, and it was just kind of like a wait till Sunshine, and then a wait. Yeah, it was just a lot of waiting. But you had Monkey Ball. You had Monkey Ball in the interim, and you had Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
Seeing that that announcement though kind of prompted me to go back to the announcement from the Switch 2 Direct just to see all the games they confirmed so far, because there's like a bunch that we don't have yet, right? We've got Wind Waker, F-Zero. We've got, what was the third one? Soul Calibur 2.
Yeah.
And now we're getting Mario Strikers, but I'm just going to read off the list of all the ones they confirmed so far. Super Mario Sunshine, Fire Emblem Path of the Radiance, Pokemon Coliseum, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, Mario Strikers, which we're getting this week, Chibi Robo, Plug Into Adventure, and then Luigi's Mansion. So those are the ones they've announced so far. They could definitely add more down the line. Maybe that's your Mario anniversary announcement, is that Sunshine's available now on Switch 2 Online GameCube Classics.
That would be a very Nintendo-ass announcement.
It would.
That would be a very divisive Nintendo-ass announcement for sure.
I like Sunshine.
I do too. It's fine, but it is one of the most divisive Mario games.
I don't get it. I don't get why there's so much hate for it. It's great. Flood is one of the best power-ups they've ever had. And those secret levels are some of the most... You don't get Galaxy, Galaxy 2, or Odyssey level platforming without the secret levels in Sunshine. Those were amazing and ahead of their time. But, yeah, I don't know. I will always defend Flood and Mario and Isle Delfino and Pianta, now that I know his name, from the Mario Kart World roster. Hey, Donovan, is Pianta okay? I forgot to ask you. Are you okay with Pianta being in? You don't like Pianta?
Nope.
So you're racist against the people from Isle Delfino. I see how it is. You're like, I only want humanoids, but not that one. That one's blue.
I guess that's humanoid, yeah. Like Pokemon rules.
Got him.
Be humanoid class.
Dead to rights.
Sure. No.
You still don't like Pianta after all? Wow. Definitely not going to vote for you for mayor of New York.
If you, it's just like I don't have to get back into the Kart World. But it's there's a nobody knows what Pianta is, man.
Lovely NPC from the game Super Mario Sunshine on a lovely island called Delfino, where Mario and Peach and the gang went to go vacation, and then Mario gets arrested. The game is so fucking good.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I was a GameCube kid. You're not going to see me hating on
no,
Sunshine.
for sure.
That was my retro Nintendo console. So,
but man, I want a third-party software. I want third-party software on this GameCube app, and I want Monkey Ball badly. The first two.
I want Monkey Ball 2.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I want both, but just give us both.
Yes.
And we'll argue over which bowling is better. It's definitely 2. But golf in the first one's still good. Golf in the first one was good.
I thought that was only in 2.
Is it only in 2? I'm thinking Target.
I think so.
Target was in 1.
That's why I'm a big fan of 2. I love Monkey Golf. That's my favorite minigame in that series.
It is outstanding. I love bowling. That was my favorite monkey game. And I also like Target.
That one's good too.
But anyway, I would Soul Calibur is third party, so it's not that they can't do it, but they have a good relationship with Sega. Sonic Adventure 2. There's a ton of GameCube games from Sega that would be wonderful to have there. Yeah, it's that same drip drop. It really is. It's
they've got a. They're gonna go back and add more games than the ones they've already announced, right? That's how they did the other ones, correct? Because we've talked about the Melee Conversation to Death. That's the best-selling GameCube game. But even Double Dash they haven't announced Double Dash.
Excellent game.
Which they put Kart 64 on there. They're not against putting the old Mario Karts on there. There's Mario Parties 4 through 7. Should all be up for consideration. They put the old Mario Parties on Switch Online for their respective consoles. Animal Crossing, the OG. Yeah, there's some big GameCube names that I'm those dominoes have to fall at some point, right?
Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, Pikmin, the Pikmin, the original Pikmin.
The original Pikmin. Well, they did a Pikmin 1 through 3 remaster.
Oh, okay.
So they already kind of did that. I don't think they need to bring that back.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. That might be a good listicle or a Shack Chat. Hey, what GameCube game do you want to see come to the Switch Online? Beautiful Joe. My answer is Beautiful Joe.
Agreed.
What happened to that game? I'll never understand how that IP was just one and done. It was great.
So there was a sequel.
There was? That's probably why I didn't.
Yeah.
I failed you, Joe. I'm sorry. Was it on GameCube?
It might have been. I think it was, but it was definitely on PlayStation.
Anyway, I am excited about Strikers, though, Donovan. That is.
Yeah.
I enjoy soccer. That's the sport I played most in my real life, so I have an attachment to soccer more than most other sports. And it's been dire times for the Mario sports fans that don't like tennis for about 8 years.
It does feel like now, and as we can look back on the Switch 1 era, for as much as Nintendo got right with all their IP on that platform, it does seem like the Mario sports games were probably the ones that you walk away from probably not the best entries in those series.
I did like Aces. I thought
that's my favorite one as well. Yeah, Aces I liked a lot.
I think that one got a 9 out of 10 from us, and it's
I think that was the first one they did on Switch.
Yes. I did not like the golf game that they brought. I thought it was worse in almost every single way than their 64 like inspiration.
And they did Strikers Battle League, right? The new Strikers, which I was one of the like 800,000 people who bought that game. I'm learning. But yeah.
I think it's funny that for a bad game, it still sells 800,000 units on a Nintendo system. I didn't care for the soccer game.
Not so much. Sorry, I was throwing out a random number because I know it wasn't the biggest thing. 2.5 mil actually did.
I'm telling you, man, you put Mario on anything, it's going to sell over 2 million units. Especially with the addressable market of 150 million Switches out there.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a problem happening in Switch 2 development land. A lot of independent developers are kind of posting on social that they can't get dev kits. Like, they're just not a thing right now. Like, there's the studios that have dev kits, like Square Enix and Sega, and I don't know who the hell else. CD Projekt, like, right?
These had one.
These I'm sure Bandai and From have them, but like, there's not, other than Toby Fox, I don't know of a single indie dev. I guess maybe Hades, the Superman, or
Super Giant.
Yeah. It's like, I guess my point is they're being handpicked, whoever is getting these dev kits. But led me to a question, like, because at Summer Game Fest, Donovan, like, when you guys asked that question, like, hey, is this game coming to Switch 2? A lot of people are like, we'd like it to.
Yeah, a lot of were like, we'd love to, but we have no idea. Yeah.
But then some of them also said, we're still releasing on Switch 1.
Yep, that's true.
Which got me thinking, is there a way for them to program their games for Switch 1 so that they'll take advantage of the hardware on Switch 2 without actually having to release it for Switch 2? Because of the backwards compatibility, and it seems like if you don't lock frame rate, David, like, that's one example.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everyone's going to be able to shadow update with DLSS, but at the very least, I think you could get your frame rate to improve on the next gen.
I was of the other mind that that was how it already worked, but the other way around, right? Because, like, we already have evidence that there were, like, Switch 1 games that didn't even get, like, an update that just ran, but like Animal Crossing New Horizons, where people were just like, oh, it just drops less frames just naturally because the Switch 2 is just a stronger console. Or
my
like
understanding
Pokemon
is
Snap.
It's like games that don't lock frame rate are instantly running better on Switch 2. But like, even if
I have an example, like what happened was Amy wanted me to I bought the Spyro remake trilogy because Amy loved those games on PS1 back in the day.
Yeah.
And she wanted to watch me play them, but the frame rate is locked at 30. So this game on Switch 2 runs like it's on Switch 1. Whereas Animal Crossing, obviously the frame rate was not locked or they just kind of released a patch that unlocked it. I don't know.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Is I think it's on the devs to think about that now. I remember Dave Oshry was like, I'm getting reports that Dusk is running at 120 FPS, and he's like, it might be. I don't know. He didn't have a Switch 2 at the time. If you don't lock your frame rate, and the system supports a certain frame rate with a given resolution, your game might actually run better. So I think they're going to be tinkering with some of these studios that, if you're an indie and you're not releasing something that is like hugely taxing on a system, like an Animal Well, right? Why not release on Switch where there's 150 million players still? I know that not everyone's still playing on Switch, but that addressable market is going to be huge for years. Kind of like what we saw with the DS, 3DS era, where there were still DS games coming out for a while. I feel like we may see that here, especially because Nintendo's exacerbating it with the shortages of these dev kits, or their intentional limitations that they're putting on these devs.
Yeah. It's, Nintendo's notoriously secretive and private about everything they do, and this is just one of the drawbacks to that, is that a lot of devs just don't have kits to make Switch 2 games. That's kind of how they like to do their business, and that's.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I completely agree with what Donovan's saying, but also I think this is one of Nintendo's biggest problems to address, because they worked really hard to cultivate relationships with indies on Switch 1. And if this goes on for too long, people could just migrate over to PlayStation or Xbox, which they're already doing for multi-platform releases. But again, Nintendo worked hard to build these relationships with indies.
Speaking of another platform that's very friendly to indies is Steam. So like, you're right. Like Nintendo went from almost 0 indies on the Wii to like a bunch of shovelware by the end of that generation. Limited amount of indies on Wii U. Some seeing success though, right? Shovel Knight, like, and then they cultivated that into something major on that. The Switch launch had Treasure Trove, right? Like that collection of Shovel Knight game DLC. So like, and like No More Heroes was there. I look at the launch of Switch 2 and how many indies were there versus this, and I'm like, yeah, you have Deltarune. That's it. That's like it. And Hades 2 is coming, I guess. But yeah, I do worry about that too, David, because to make this a core gamer system, a large part of the core gamer experience is buying indie games and supporting indies, and Balatro and things like that come out of nowhere. So I don't like that. That's what I'm hearing, is that very few devs have these kits. That seems problematic.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, go sell your game on Switch. You know, there's a lot more Switches than Switch 2s right now. And if it's, most indie games are not taxing the hardware. That's why I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal if you release a Switch 1 game and someone buys it on their Switch 2. You still get the same amount of money.
Right.
So I think that's where the economy of this new merged eShop, it doesn't hurt indies, but at the same time, there's like a huge, it's a flood of titles on the eShop. And it's like, I'd say harder than ever to discover anything on that store. So that's going to be another challenge for indies going forward. But like, haven't had an Indie World Showcase this year, right? Like that was a whole thing. They have their whole, they used to call it Nindies, and then they called it Indie World. They have like a dedicated social channel for that and like separate directs for it. It's just, I know it's early, but I am concerned about that. Because you got cool games in the indie space, like freaking Schedule 1. Schedule 1 on Switch 2 would be kind of interesting. I think it would actually be amusing to play. And that goes back to, like, it's not just, like, family-friendly Nintendo. It's like, hey, Schedule 1's on this thing? Like, Cyberpunk's on this thing? Yeah. Like, it's going back to that whole, we want to give core gamers and the Blue Ocean a place to play. Right now, I fear that with a lack of indie support, they're missing out on some stuff. There's like another indie game that would have been perfect for the Switch 2 launch. This Rematch game. You know, soccer, if Rocket League was soccer, that's Rematch. And Rematch is on, I know that's the dumbest sentence ever. I know it's the dumbest sentence ever, but I keep being pitched that. I saw it I was on my Xbox today. I saw it on my Xbox store. Rematch is there. So like, there's some cool things happening in the indie space that Nintendo's kind of missing out on right now. And that's weird. Yeah. That's weird, especially given their last 8 years of how they've treated indies.
Yeah, I mean, the Switch became, I'd say by the time that life cycle ended, it kind of had emerged alongside Steam as like the places to play indies. It was like Switch and then seemed like the main indie hubs. So
yeah, and I was double dipping on certain games, right? Like I was like, okay, I'll get Celeste for Steam and Celeste for Switch, or yeah. Like
Celeste Stardew Valley was great on Switch. That was the only way to play that game mobile before they eventually got to the iOS, Android port, and Steam Deck and all that. But yeah, that was the launch year Switch game. So
yeah, in a weird way, the Switch was like the successor to the Vita, like that. Like it was this really beloved. No, really, like the Vita was a beloved indie handheld.
Hell yeah,
and the Switch kind of picked up that torch.
And oddly enough, David, it wasn't just the beloved indie handheld; it was a beloved JRPG handheld. Which, flash forward to today, half of Nintendo Directs are dedicated to JRPGs these days. Like,
it's true.
It's
kind of a running joke at this point.
It's like the Dragon Quest system. It's like you get everything on there. All the Octopath games, right? Octopath came out on the Switch first.
It's my preferred place to play those games. I still think Octopath 2 is a modern masterpiece.
It is. It's stunning. But yeah, like, and it's a pretty interesting story too. But yeah, like I think you're right, David. Like there's a cause for concern, but it's early, and I think we're in a world where we didn't get a review unit for Switch ahead of launch. There weren't many Switches out there in the world, and they sold every last one they could. So much so that the president came out and apologized. Did you see that? Shintaro Furukawa says, "Sorry that we're selling so many."
The Japanese president, yeah.
Yeah, sorry that it's selling so well. We don't have any more, but we're working on making more for you to buy our extremely successful product. Like, it's just the weirdest apology, the weirdest please understand ever. It's like, we apologize for selling 3.5 million units in 4 days. Yeah. We could have done better. We're very sorry to everyone. It's like, oh, okay.
I got too much swag. Please understand.
Seriously, it was the swaggiest please understand we've ever gotten. And of course, when I said seriously, it triggered Siri on my iPhone because Steve Jobs is dead.
Of course. Classic.
Yeah, I can't go through a podcast without that voice assistant popping up. I had a thought about game share. And game chat. Like, we're going to be playing games that are under embargo, right? But I was thinking, like, a cool way for us to create content would be for, like, the person who's reviewing whatever Switch game to, like, go on there and invite the other staff in for a game chat. So you guys could, like, all watch the gameplay of this unreleased game and react to it in kind of real time. I was like, that might be an interesting, like... there might be some content there for us to create, right? Like...
Yeah.
It almost turned into, like, a virtual quick look. But yeah,
assuming that Nintendo doesn't put in some like weird poison pill thing that makes
prevents
that.
Yeah, they could do that too. They are known for that.
Yeah,
they're known for like weird. Like, you've had to do it before, Donovan, where like you have to log into like this shadow the whole shadow network that they have. That's like, I don't know.
Confidential multi-step process. I was gonna ask if you guys want to talk about the Switch summer sale, which is happening right now for 9 more days.
Yes,
that's a thing. It's always worth acknowledging whenever there's like a store-wide Switch sale. So.
Yeah, I mean, Ozzy does a great job of putting together the deals list every weekend, and last week was crazy. Like the amount of between Steam and between Steam and Nintendo, there are some really good deals. I saw was it Odyssey was below $40 first time
Odyssey's $39.99 right now, 33% off. Bowser's Fury is on sale. If you wanted the New Horizons bundle with all the DLC, that's discounted. Nothing on my wish list. I decided with Switch 2 I want to use my wish list more, and the 3 games on my wish list right now are Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, Fire Emblem Three Houses, because I'm starting to think I might like that game if I actually play it, and then Metroid Prime Remastered, but none of those are in this year deal. But there are a lot of games. The other Xenoblades are on sale.
I picked up the Spyro Reignited trilogy, and I've always wanted to play these. The Angry Video Game Nerd, like 2D platformers that are super challenging. Those are pretty fun. It was like that was like $7. Oh, they're fun. Yeah,
I've vaguely heard of those, maybe like in passing. I'm not too
familiar. Yeah, it's like he gets, I don't know, sucked into a world of like 8-bit. Basically, what happened is he worked with a developer to create a game around the quote-unquote shitty games that he plays, but the experiences are actually good. So it's like, here's this mechanic I hated, but here it is done right, sort of thing. But they're super challenging, and they're a lot of fun if you like 2D platformers, which is my platforming is my favorite genre, and 2D platforming is my favorite type of platformer. So I'm really enjoying them.
Yeah, so there's also sales going on PlayStation and Xbox right now. Everyone basically is trying to compete with Steam whenever Steam has a sale now. Yeah, the Animal Crossing New Horizons bundle with all the DLC is $59.48. That's 30% off. We mentioned Odyssey, but also Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury are $39.99, 33% off. Hello Kitty Island Adventures 20% off if you're into Animal Crossing likes, but you also like Hello Kitty. That was, I think, our mobile game of the year when it came out.
Heard good things about it.
I think it won mobile game of the year. that's 20% off. Link's Awakening, I mentioned how that's running better. It's $42 right now, 30% off. We mentioned Odyssey. FIFA, or whatever you want to call it. EA Sports Football Club 25.
FC 25, yeah.
$17.99, 70% off.
There are a lot of third-party games with like some deep discounts on them. Persona 5 Royal, if you've managed to not buy that game yet, is 65% off. It's $20.
It Takes Two is 50% off, $19.99. Sparks of Hope, if you haven't gotten that Mario and Rabbids title yet, it's 75% off. It's $14.99.
If you're somebody who managed to skip or largely ignore the Switch era and you're jumping in at the Switch 2, this would probably be a good opportunity to snap up a lot of games.
Yeah, Sonic X Shadow Generations Digital Deluxe Editions, $41.99. That's 30% off. Just 30% off, all the way down to 75% off. You can Enter the Gungeon for $3.74.
That's a fun game.
Doom Eternal, $10, David.
There you go.
Oh, have to call this one out. Persona 5 Royal, $20.99, 65% off. Get it.
Yeah, as I said, if you managed to not buy that game yet on any platform.
If you don't have Persona 5, that's a hell of a deal right there.
Yeah.
Tetris Forever, that came out last year, 30% off. $24.49. So yeah, lots of really good deals on the eShop. Lots of good deals on Steam, lots of good deals on Xbox. I saw RoboCop Rogue City. Yeah, Xbox. $5.99. That's 90% off. That's a really fun game. $6. I think is a great price for that. And yeah, even on PlayStation, you get Black Myth Wukong for 20% off, which is a highly liked game that just released last year. So yeah, lots of deals out there. And yeah, David, like to your point, some of these Switch games that like have had this new life because their frame rate's improving or whatever, they're also the cheapest they've ever been. So that's cool. You know, a game that I would like to see get a Switch 2 edition is Sonic Frontiers, because that game runs so terribly on Switch. Like it needs. And honestly, maybe don't even make me pay for it. Just do a free update. But like, I paid full price for that game. I don't want to pay another $1.
That should definitely fall into the free upgrade bin, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, but I would throw that out there. And, you know, while we were talking about Mario Sports, I do have to shout out Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo Olympic Games in 2020. Maybe the most cursed Olympics of all time.
Definitely.
But I thought that game was absolutely delightful, and we're never getting another one. It seems like that's over.
Yeah, I started shaking my head, not because I have an issue with the Tokyo game, but because we never got a Paris one. Last year was the Paris Olympics, and we didn't get one. I believe, if I'm correct, that the studio who made those games made like a separate Olympic game that wasn't Nintendo or Sega branded. And if the internet told me the truth, it had like some sort of NFT alignment or whatever. So that's disappointing. That was one of the coolest crossovers in all of video games, and it's crazy that it went as long as it did.
Yeah.
So would love to see that come back at some point. But
after all the console warrior bullshit, for Mario and Sonic to come together in the spirit of competition and sport, that was a wonderful time in gaming. And now we're going to be sitting here without it. And it's that's
the Cat and Wario could race and track and field together. It was like a fever dream of a video game. It was very cool.
That marathon,
bring that back.
Like the sprint marathon where all you had to do was hit the A button. Like, I loved it. I thought that was like one of the most charming mini games I've ever played. The skating, like being able to like skateboard as Mario and Luigi was hilarious.
we were one Olympics off from getting, and it could still happen, the 2020 Olympics in Los Angeles. Let's get Mario and Sonic at the Los Angeles Olympic Games.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
I will say that there was like a history lesson built into the Tokyo games. That I think Nintendo had a lot of reverence for that game specifically.
Yeah,
because it was like 40 years after the previous. I can't remember how many years it was, but it was like 50 or however many years after the last Tokyo Olympic Games. And it was like they were showing you like historical lessons about this is what happened back then, this is what's happening now. The actual map like of Tokyo was impressive. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that these two Japanese companies got off the bandwagon after the Tokyo Games, but
yeah,
the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, it's a bunch of idiots. So I'm sure
they're not the best.
I'm sure that the sales of their crappy NFT game probably didn't do anything compared to what Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games would do. But yeah, that's one of those sports titles though, Donovan, that like I thought like it outperformed my expectations. In an era where a lot of them did not. I guess
those are automatic purchases for me because it was just such
Yeah.
a cool thing that existed. We only got them every 4 years, you know.
They're fun.
Yeah, they're fun.
Before we go, we haven't really talked much about Mario Kart World. We got to talk about this patch.
Oh yes, yeah.
People mad. Yeah. People big mad about patch.
Yep. Yeah, they patched Mario Kart World. Maybe it was update 1.112 or something around there, where essentially, what they did, there was some bug fixes, but there was one like actual change in the patch notes, and I think the way they worded it is like changes to the random track selection functionality in online versus races. What it did was, essentially Mario Kart World has intermission tracks. So if you race on like Peach Stadium and then you do one that's like in the vicinity of it, when you start the race, you'll still be at Peach Stadium, and then you'll drive to that track and you'll finish the race there.
With usually the third lap being the only racetrack lap.
Yeah. Typically, by the time you got there, the race was like 70% over, you know, which people kind of grew frustrated with. And it would do that online, but what people had quickly discovered is that there was a secret workaround. If you voted random, when you got a random course, it would just give you the traditional standard 3-lap experience like you would if you were just picking it in a vacuum. So it kind of quickly became like the online etiquette to just pick random so that we could all experience a proper race since there was no other way to do it online. And they took it away. They patched it out. So now if you do random, you still get the intermission tracks where applicable. And people have been upset about it. Yeah.
Yep.
That's quite the stare.
Yeah. Do you think Nintendo will reverse this?
I don't think they give a shit at all.
No.
I mean, the fact that they cared to patch it, it almost feels kind of petty that they even patched it
in
the first place.
That's what I'm saying. Like, really?
Like,
really, Nintendo? This is what you want? This was the hill? This was the fix? This was the fix?
It's those Nintendoisms, man.
Yeah, like they can afford to die on every hill right now. They don't give a shit.
They really don't.
Man.
They're like, fuck you. We don't need your review, Shacknews. We sold 80% of these idiots are buying this thing. We don't need you. We don't need Twitter. Go to Nintendo Today to read about this. I don't know. They're on there. They're on one right now. They really are. Yeah. Like this patch highlights that. This is like if you were worried that this wasn't same old Nintendo, read these patch notes and then go on Twitter and read about the patch notes because man,
they picked the weirdest battles to fight.
It's the so game, stupid.
Because it was that would have never changed anything materially about the way that 99% of the people play or perceive that game, but it was like the handful of hardcores, the people who are actually logging dozens of hours into it, had found that one little workaround. They're like, nope, that's not how we intended to play the game, so you will not play it that way.
Hate to say I told you so, but did I not just go on a rant like 2 weeks ago about how this game's lack of competitive flair was going to be a problem?
Yeah, it's intentional too, clearly.
It's clearly a point of emphasis, and as a racing game fanatic, it's off-putting. It is. It just is. And now we can't even get a 3-lap race in versus race mode? It's absurd.
Yeah. The only hope at this point would be is they're definitely going to update it again for content, is that you just hope maybe when one of those content updates drops, they're like, hey, and we've added this new option when you play online and you can press this button, get the 3-lap races, and they'll give us Rainbow Road, and it'll be easy.
Because it's so weird. Like, time trials is now where all the competitive racers are fixated on.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to race 3 laps there.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so the practice mode, Nintendo, the practice mode for your own game is for 3 laps on a track that you made, Nintendo. But now when I go play with my friends, I don't race the same race that I've been practicing in your practice mode.
Yeah.
Make it make sense, Nintendo. I'm glad I waited to score this game, because man, as this progresses, the blemishes really start to show up. But I think people are justly upset about this. Like, I don't think this is the typical overreaction that you see from Nintendo fans, like the price of the game. This is actually a valid concern, and I don't think Nintendo's going to do anything about it because they just don't care. And that's frustrating.
Intermission tracks are fun. I love the concept.
I like it.
Cool to like drive the tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not mad at this. I actually am not. Like, I don't care. I actually like. I like the open world. That's like where I'm spending most of my time in that game. But yeah, I just wanted to mention it before we go because that was like one of the biggest Switch 2 news stories of the last week for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Donovan, we got to read your preview too. That's going to be up on the site when this podcast goes live. So we will have more for you to read. Also, go to our YouTube channel, and we'll also be posting our clips to social. There's a bunch of gameplay from Donkey Kong Bonanza that'll be on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, X, Facebook, and maybe Blue Sky.
Yeah, TBD.
It's a function. It's a function of, is the video too big? Which 100 megs is the limit, by the way. 100 megs.
It's not a lot.
Shacknews Cortex has a larger file size limitation than that. And then, we also have. I think I can say this, right? We have a giveaway. We're doing a giveaway of a Switch 2, right? I think I'm announcing it right here, right now. So yeah, are we streaming Thursday or Wednesday? Wednesday? I think we're streaming.
We should Wednesday.
We're streaming Wednesday. Yeah. I really thought this out a lot. But yeah, we're also doing a fundraiser for the Trans Lifeline, and we're extending that. We're gonna extend that into July because we don't just have to be raising money for them during Pride Month. So yeah, we're gonna attach the giveaway to our donations. That new campaign will be live on July 1st. So when this podcast goes live, my rambling will make slightly more sense, hopefully. But yeah, if you don't have a Switch 2 and you're watching this podcast and we have convinced you that you want a Switch 2, even if maybe you can't afford it, this would be a good giveaway to enter. So we'll have more details on that. So stay tuned for that. I know, Donovan, you gotta get going. I gotta get going because I have another show to go to. So I'm gonna literally leave this podcast where I'm talking about Nintendo to go to another podcast where I talk about Nintendo.
Sides.
That'll do it. Let us know if you guys want us to check out anything on the Switch 2, or if there's some games that you think we need to keep our eye out on, or just hit us up in the comments section. If you like this, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, all those good things. Thanks for joining me, David and Donovan.
Thank you.
I've been Asif, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Peace.
Bye.
Hey, Shackers. We're back with more information about that giveaway that I was fumbling about at the end of the podcast. I have our community manager, Dennis White, here, who's helped organize the fundraising effort that we have been doing this summer and that we are continuing to do this summer, Denny. We're going to do 2 more months of fundraising for Trans Lifeline because we don't just have to do that during Pride Month, and we actually have a plan. We're going to give away some Switch 2s, and all you got to do is donate to charity to enter. That sounds awesome.
I think it sounds pretty sweet. You know, Trans Lifeline obviously doing some amazing work. And we'd love to give opportunity for all of you to participate in making sure that you show both love and support for the charity, and you get the opportunity to potentially win a Switch 2. I mean, hey, that's tough to beat, and we'll be basically streaming lots of tons of amazing content throughout the month, both July and August. So we'll be giving away one of those Nintendo Switch 2s once per month, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll announce a particular time and stream for the announcement on the giveaway end, but you can still donate throughout the month to qualify for the giveaway itself. So there will be a Tiltify link, both posted in below the podcast end, and also on our channels and socials and such as well. So you'll have plenty of ways to get that entry. Now, the important thing is that, for our international viewers, there won't be any international shipping here.
No, unfortunately.
For the Nintendo Switch 2.
So this is just America. This is just America,
yes,
folks.
Just America.
It's hard to get a Switch 2 here in America because of all these tariffs. We don't want to create even more tariff burdens or issues trying to get you a Switch overseas. So maybe down the road we can try to do something internationally. But right now, this is just limited to the American geography. That's all 50 states, though. If someone in Alaska or Hawaii wins, we will ship it out to you. That's not the issue. But international shipping is a lot harder than it used to be, thanks to Glorious Leader. But yeah, can't wait. We've been streaming Mario Kart World since it came out. There's other games launching on Switch 2. Or already out on Switch 2. I know, Denny, we played some Soul Calibur 2 on launch week. Mario Strikers is coming out on July 3rd. So there's going to be a lot of fun games for the staff to get together and play, all in the name of raising money for charity all summer long. So we're excited to do that. All you got to do is donate some money to Trans Lifeline using our Tiltify. That'll enter you into this giveaway. And like Denny said, at the end of every month, July and August, we will be doing a giveaway. We're not going to do it on the very end of August because August 31st, I think, is a Sunday. So
it's a Sunday, a weekend day. So
yeah, keep your eye out. Keep watching our streams. Keep watching our social channels and our YouTube channels, and we will update everyone with how we're going to do the drawings. We're going to have some like special streams built around those too. But yeah, just keep it locked on Shacknews YouTube, Shacknews on social media, and Shacknews on Twitch to stay up to date on how the giveaway is going, where we're at with raising money, and yeah, just enjoy it. Join us to see some fun games. We got like Donkey Kong Bonanza's coming out this month.
Hype for that one.
You know, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4 comes out in July. Mario Party's coming soon. Like, there's a lot of stuff coming down the road. Not to mention, our staff has gloriously contentious Mario Kart World streams that are going to continue till the end of time. So, yeah, we'll be back to do a lot more streaming like that. But we wanted to get this announcement out. I kind of fumbled over it at the end of the podcast, so this is a much cleaner and concise and full of information announcement. Thank you for joining me for this, Denny, and for organizing this. Can't wait to raise more money for Trans Lifeline and to play more games with the staff and to stream for you folks at home. Yeah, this is an exciting time with the launch of a new console. And we know it's an expensive console, so if you're out there and you've been on the fence about buying it or you simply can't afford it, this is your opportunity to get one for free. And
yeah, you get to check out, us playing some of the things on the console as well beforehand. You can get a nice solid taste of some of these games.
Except for Welcome Tour. We are not going to play Welcome Tour on this stream. But other than that, yeah, plenty of other games you can check out. I may even get a Cyberpunk stream in there at some point because I got that game, and I just think it's cool that's on the Switch. But yeah, we'll figure out exactly what we're streaming when, but just know lots of Nintendo Switch 2 content coming your way, be it podcasts, be it streams, whatever else we're doing. We got reviews hopefully coming because the games are starting to kind of drip out on the console now. We didn't really have a Mario Kart World preview, like early review period, so I'm still reviewing that game. But these new ones, probably going to have some reviews to talk about here, which is exciting. Exciting times, man. Console launches are always exciting. We want more people to be able to participate in this year's console launch of the Switch 2. So yeah, I went out and I got a couple of Switch 2s somehow. Try to find some more. Maybe we could do this. Maybe we could do this in September if I find another one. But
hey guys, yeah, he's talking about some more Switches. Yeah,
that's if I can find one, Daddy. It's hard.
yeah, the one in full Tomb Raider mode out here. But,
yeah.
But thank you all, ahead of time.
Yes.
We really appreciate you supporting the charity. If you are curious to learn more about Trans Lifeline, there'll be information about the charity itself as well on our pages. So keep an eye out.
Yep. Awesome. Well, we hope to see you on Twitch or on YouTube or wherever, but we'll see you later. Bye-bye.